Good morning. Today, my topic is how our mind takes decisions. The truths of life are like the yes and no, 0 and 1, plus and minus, birth and death. To live with the truths of life is difficult. It's like living in two extremes of weather. We can only strive to be near truth. Our inner voice is our guide and makes us aware of the truths of life. It tells us what is right and what is wrong under all circumstances. We also call it our Atma, Chetna, Prana or soul. Our body system has three advisors and an arbitrator, that is our mind. The three advices that we get are from the brain with its reasoning power, the Atma or mentor, which makes us aware of the truths of this world, and our emotions, that is, our worldly attachments. The three continuously interact with each other to give us solutions to our life problems. Any of the three advisors are capable of taking a final decision, but it is our mind which usually arbitrates and calls the shots. It is our soul that gives us life and the understanding of this universe. It resides within us and is our powerhouse that drives the machine that is our body. The Atma is the driver and the motor vehicle, our body. The Atma is unique. It makes entry into Jiva and gives life to it. We live inside a vast sea of air that we breathe. We require air to breathe and an Atma to spring us to life. We are all immersed in the all-pervading Atma. It is the basic ingredient, the invisible plasma of this universe. The Creator has devised a body that will be run by this invisible plasma or Atma. Every inch of our body is immersed in plasma. Our inner voice, Chetna, resides within us and speaks to us. Ask your inner self when you are in doubt. It will give you an answer not in words, but as a thought or a symbolic way that you can understand or fathom. The best time to hear your inner voice is in the morning hours, when you are having your first cup of tea or when you are in the bathroom having your bath. Sometimes we don't recognize or we ignore our inner voice. What premonitions we get is also from our Atma or our inner voice. Learn to hear and act on it. It will not lie to you. The brain works through reasoning. It takes control of life and takes decisions between the two extremes of right and wrong, true or false, between zeros and ones, and between life and death. Our brain is a complex mechanism where it takes inputs from all the sensory organs. It has complex logic circuits and works on logic and our prior experiences that we have undergone. Our brain gathers information from our sensory organs, adds our past experiences and emotions, processes it for the Chetna to complete the picture. The mind is unable to understand without Chetna. It is important to understand that all our bodily organs, our sensory organs, provide information to the brain, which then adds up our emotions, processes it to become alive with Chetna like a movie being played in a theater. It is the Chetna which makes us see, feel, and understand the universe that we live. But we must learn to distinguish between what our Atma or inner voice tells us and what our mind tells us. Our mind answers us when we ask. Our inner voice speaks to us without our asking it. The mind answers a query. The inner voice advises us without asking for it. The inner voice speaks to those who seek and those who don't. But it becomes easily accessible to those who seek. Those who learn how to harness this inner voice benefit themselves and the society. Our emotions is another factor which comes into play in our lives. We have to deal with this third factor also before taking a decision. Sometimes we are more inclined to listen to our heart, to our emotional self. Our emotional self listens to our feelings of love and attachment. It works through our attachments with our parents, brothers, sisters, and close relatives and persons we love. It is blind to reasoning. Chetna is our soul. It recognizes the do's and don'ts of life. It is pure, it is unfiltered, and when a decision has to be taken, it mixes with the logic provided by the brain to get a logical solution. Now it is up to the mind to take a final call. It is the truths of this universe versus our emotions and our logical thinking. The final answer is given by the mind, the arbitrator. The soul steps aside and allows the brain to take a decision. It stays as a higher authority, as a mentor, which, when consulted, will give out the truths of this world only. And since we can't live only by the truths, the soul delegates power to the brain to take a decision. Our inner voice is only a guide whose suggestions may or may not be taken. The mind is the one that decides. Let us consider a case of how the mind takes decisions for us. Consider that one of our own kin is in trouble, may be involved in some illegal activities. Since we have an attachment with him, we will try to protect him in one way or the other. Our emotional self does not see the right and wrong of things. We become blind to reality. Now let's see how the brain works under these circumstances. It will consider whether it is the right moment to help him out or not. It applies reason. It may not find it suitable to help him openly, but he may help him out covertly. Now let's see our Atma or soul. It will not lie to you. It will tell you what is wrong and what is right straight away. But it will not decide for you. It leaves it for the mind to decide in the circumstances, and in these circumstances, the mind rules. The mind decides one way or the other, emotionally, truthfully, or logically. Let's take another example of owning a car. It is not only a means of transport, but it signifies status also in today's world. Our emotions tell us that the car should be one above our neighbor's car. Our mind tells us that we may not have the money to buy, and so it may not be advisable. Our Atma or our inner self will tell us to value the car only as a means of transport and nothing more. So it is left to the brain to arbitrate and decide the next course of action. Every human being has an Atma, or what we call prana. Normally, people live with their ego, where the mind is supreme. Generally, men are the ones where their mind rules. Women are more susceptible to emotions, as they are more attached to the family. The third category are the men and women, where the Atma rules their lives. They are the ones who are the saints, the social workers, distinguished scientists, philosophers, poets, and writers. Lord Rama, Jesus Christ, and Buddha. These names come to me as people who belong to this exalted class where the Atma rules their lives. Thank you.